Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast about video games and craft beer. I'm Ben. I'm here with Lucy.
Hi.
Hey.
Just the two of us.
Yes. Another episode. It's just you and I. Another episode, I think, where it's just me drinking.
Yes, for the last time ever. We will not let this happen again.
Until next January, maybe?
Nah, let's just say never again.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Even if one of us did decide to do it, Adol will have done all of his corrections and all of that extra stuff. So he'll be, well, he may be here in January. Who knows? Who knows where he'll be? But somewhere is always drinking. So it's not like we're drinking alone, is it?
It's
right.
0 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly. I am going to open my first beer. Again, been a busy week, so I have had difficulty getting to the bottle shop. So the two beers I have got are two beers I haven't had, but they're from Morrison's. Kim went there earlier today, and I said, I've got no beers, I can't go anywhere, I'm too busy. So she picked me these up. So the first one is Brewdog Overworks beer. It is Cosmic Crush Raspberry Sour, which is 4.5%. Gives us a little bit of flavour text. Overworks Cosmic Crush range are 100% mixed culture Scottish sour ales, aged in fodders and fermented on whole fruit, available on planet Earth. They offer a cosmos of juicy, funky discovery and a wormhole to a world of sour beer. Redder than the red planet, aromas of citric.
I don't know if they've... I don't know, is it an adjective? Used it.
I'll continue this. It makes sense when I say aromas of citric, malic, and lactic acidity. Juiced to the outer limits and lightly tannic on the palate with barnyard funky undertones. Dry with light vinous red wine notes. A crisp and refreshing finale. Yeah, sure. Okay. We'll see, won't we?
I have two beers in the background there.
Oh, yes.
Given to me by my friend, which was very nice of him. He was leaving the country to go work on a cruise ship. So he was like, I'm not going to need these. Not going to drink them before I go. So I can't promise they'll be here next week. But they are a pressure drop 10.5% brown. Is it brown ale? Yeah, brown ale. And let's have a look at the other one.
Brown ale.
And the other one is... Oh, I've never heard of these people. It's Smoke Screen. Called Smoke Screen. It's 8% smoked stout. And it's from Demoa's Slutel Beer Engineers.
Okay. I've not heard of them either.
Neither have I. There's nothing on the can. It's just silver all the way around. Other than the label.
Okay.
Craft brewing they're from the Netherlands. And yeah, ingredients. Water, malted barley, hops and yeast. Thanks.
Keeping it super light on their labels.
Yeah, so even if I don't have this on the pod, I'm sure I'll update you all next week.
Nice. So they're not beers that she could have kept and aged.
He could have, but I wasn't going to tell him that. I was like, he might not be back till September, so...
Okay.
Yeah, could have aged them, but
fair
he knows I'll enjoy them much more, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
So, this Cosmic Crush, or the Raspberry Sour, definitely get raspberry on the nose. Obviously, it's super red. Looks like, like blackcurrant squash. Little fizzy. Not too fizzy though. There's a little bit of something in my glass though. Don't know whether that's come from the beer or doesn't look like it should have. Who knows? It's on the floor now. But yeah, I mean, you could instantly tell that this is a sour. It does have that sort of slightly reddy, vinous kind of red wine vinous nose to it, along with that fruitiness. And cool.
Cool, blimey.
It's I'll tell you what. We've grown to like sours, haven't we, over the years that we've been doing this. And actually, that's a pretty good sour. It's not too sour. It's not too mouth puckering. It is kind of just the right level, I think, of sourness to it. This is a supermarket beer, so it needs to kind of be approachable and almost a bit of a gateway into sours and those types of beers. It's definitely coming through in the flavour as it was in the nose with the raspberry. Not so much of the red wines. You're getting those tannins, definitely, that kind of that linger a little bit, and it quite quickly hits you with that sourness as well. So it's not sort of like, oh, this is very pleasant, and then bam, there's that kind of to it. As soon as you have it, you know that it is sour. It's almost akin to something like sherbet, where you're kind of instantly, that as soon as you get that, it kind of sucks everything in a little bit and dries you out. And again, this beer's very, very dry too. Sat here like, because I need something to be able to keep talking, and I don't want to bang this back. Even though it's only 4.5%, so it's very, very light.
Are Overworks beers exclusive to Morrison's, or? Because
I don't know, actually. I don't know. I know they had a stall, or they for the last few years they've had a stall at the Bristol Craft Beer Festival, haven't they?
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's been in addition to a Brewdog stall, or whether Brewdog just haven't been there. I think a few years ago when we went to Motion, they had like a combined stall perhaps, and then maybe last year it was just Overworks.
Because I'm trying to recall if I've, to be honest, the supermarket that's local to me has less and less craft beer every time I go in there, which is a shame.
It's because you keep drinking
it. Yeah, they've run out of stock. But I'm trying to think, like, have I seen like Overworks beers in like any supermarket? I haven't been to Morrison's in quite some time, to be fair.
I know Tesco definitely have one. There's I think it's a 500ml, or maybe it's a 7. No, definitely, well, it might be a 750. But there's a larger bottle, which is an Overworks one, which is a blue and white label, almost kind of like the inverse to like the punk label, but it's white with lots of blue text and graphics all over it. I haven't had that. But I definitely know that's been in Tesco.
Right, okay, so I don't a deal with Morrison's like Northern Monk or anything.
This is a 330ml. It's I think the only one that I've seen of Overworks in Morrison's. Obviously Morrison's do stock, as everywhere does now, Punk, Dead Pony Club, Elvis Juice, the core kind of range for Brewdog these days. They rotate in, and we've seen a lot of the alcohol-free beers. They do lots of seasonal different beers. 5am Saints just come back, I think. But yeah, Overworks still yet to kind of penetrate more than this one beer. And I don't know. Obviously, we saw Tesco's swap out and bring in a lot more beers and different breweries and things a few months ago now, last year at some point. And Morrison's had some kind of, I can't remember what they call it, like a craft beer binge, I don't know, where they get a lot more in, basically. And there's been some new Northern Monk beers that they've had that have seemed to have stayed in. So it wasn't just, they go, here's a month where we have got lots of different craft beers in and that's all we're going to do. Some seem to have stuck, and I would imagine they just picked the best sellers and, asked for them to be shipped out everywhere. And maybe this was one of those beers, and at that point perhaps there were some more, and this one's the one that just stuck, maybe. I don't know. Just guessing at the moment. So,
Well, they're
but it's
so
nice.
distinct looking from normal Brewdog's packaging and labelling, and
Yes, very
maybe I
much.
haven't noticed it. Who knows?
Yeah, and I don't know whether, because I've not had an Overworks beer before. I mean, I may have like in a bar or something.
Yeah.
When I've gone to a Brewdog, I may have had one, but
Yeah. I was
I
in
don't know whether
Brewdog
they're
in
just.
Manchester. That was nice. Yeah.
I don't know
Anyway.
what kind of, because it seems like maybe it's their more like experimental arm, where they can just do a load of stuff, even though they've got that what's it called, like the subscription box that goes out, that they send 3 beers in sort of monthly or however often that goes out, and the ones I see sort of posted online,
Yeah.
they seem to do very well at never repeating themselves.
Okay.
And having such a wide range of beers, under Brewdog, that they can kind of still experiment and put out new beers and different flavours and different batches and changing up recipes for certain beers and things within just Brewdog itself. So I don't know what Overworks kind of gives as a different thing. Maybe we need to get Callum back on, because obviously he worked for Brewdog for a little while before he's just gone back to Australia. He might have mentioned it when he was on, to be fair. But we should get him back on at some point. If Australia has the internet, I've got no idea.
They don't. And it's on fire, so
That's very true. Yes.
the whole
Be
world's
safe,
on
Callum.
fire.
We'll take the piss out of Australia, but be safe, everyone in Australia.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as I say, the whole world is on fire, figuratively and literally. So.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's 2020 for you.
The year has started off well.
Oh, excellently. People can't even leave their homes without getting struck down by a virus. So. It's great.
Oh, we shouldn't
Just
have.
keeps getting better and better.
Yes. Right, let us talk about things that bring us joy to our lives and leave all of that behind. Lucy, let's come to you. I've been chatting about this beer. What you brought to chat about this week?
This week, because I didn't really speak about much last week, we did speak about Frog Detective last week, but I was playing games that hadn't been released and therefore were still under embargo. But now they're out.
Nice.
They've actually come out this week. So the 2 games that I'm going to talk about are called Coffee Talk and The Pedestrian. I'll start with Coffee Talk. We were talking about coffee, so that's a good belated segue.
Yes.
20 minutes later, but it's a visual novel in the style of like that Valhalla game that's written weird with numericals in its title, but that was like
the
a
bartender, the
bartending,
cyberpunk
yeah.
bartending one. Yes.
In its similarities, that it's disclosure, I haven't played that game. I've had it on my wish list for probably about 12 years and I still haven't bought it, but after playing Coffee Talk, I have a renewed interest in it and actually buying it soon. But it's a Coffee Talk is the same. It's a pixelated I wouldn't call it a coffee making game because the mechanics are very, very slight. The coffee making is secondary to what you're actually there for, which is typically just a visual novel. You are just, almost playing like a therapist who's just always listening to the patrons of this coffee shop that's always open at night for some reason. It's only open at night for some reason. But
people need coffee.
Coffee, yeah.
Sure.
People work night shifts and everything, so but yeah, it's very much a visual novel in this, but it's very much a visual novel where you don't really have agency over the story or over your character. You're not a silent protagonist. You're always speaking. It's not voice acted. It's just text. But you are engaging, but you're not choosing dialogue options. It's basically you're just going through a script. And what a few visual novels that I've played recently, like Eliza has done, just like in Coffee Talk, you can just say, look, just play all the text, don't have it be a requisite where I have to click and click and click to get the net. Just let it go, and when you want me to interact with it, then it stops. And
nice.
I love that.
That's
it's like
nice
I can just lie down in bed and just be like, yep, just take me through this story. And speaking to the story, it's not, there's not really any overarching like central plot, but there are like recurring characters, and there is a cast. It's like, I don't know, Cheers or something. You're always seeing the same faces, and it takes place over the course of several days, and it's just basically seeing how these characters, their arcs, their individual stories and stuff like that. I mean, it's not the best written game, and it doesn't always. I mean, it tries to. In fact, I don't even think it tries to. It touches on like heavy subject matter, like interracial dating, the economy, classism, stuff like that. But it never does it in a way that it's like, okay, this is getting dark, or like this truly has something to say. And in a lot of indie games, and especially visual novels, it does seem like, okay, they're taking a stance and they're going to go with it, they're going to run with it. Whereas this is like, okay, you are just making some points, and it is like, okay, there's no point, glossing over it. It is probably more left leaning than people's, some people's opinions, but it's like it's never going all that way. It's never really saying that much, and it's sort of refreshing in that it's like, okay, you can just have this point of view, but you're not bashing people over the head with it. You're not, really saying, let's dig down into this subject matter. It's just like, here it is, we're presenting it, this is how we feel, and that's it. It's not too deep, it's nothing like that. We're not going all the way, and that's actually refreshing in this day and age. It's like, okay, you just want everyone to be happy. The text is, saccharine, and it's like, yep, that's sweet, that's nice, cool. You're not really going into too much depth in it, and that's fine, So maybe some people would rather it go into those places, but for me, I'm just like, I don't mind that you have this stance, and it's not much of a stance. It's just like, you're just stating matter of factly, and that's it. You're not really digging into the deeper details. That's fine. Not everything has to be a complete and utter essay, and
big critique on the world.
That's the word, critique on the world. And it's not that. It's not too deep. It's not that deep, and that's what's enjoyable about the story. And it's just about those characters and their day-to-day lives, and will their relationship get better? Is this indie developer, are they going to be confident showing their game at Max West and stuff like that? It's just nice individual little stories and little microcosms in this society, which is, I should mention that the society that they've built, it's like, it's quite fantastical. It's okay. Obviously a real a take on real life, but they have fantastical elements where it's like, oh, elves and orcs coexist in this world and stuff like that. So there's a bit of a twist on that, and it's that's interesting, like how they paint these different classes as, the lower middle classes werewolves and this and that, and they not only address real life circumstances, they also build fantastical themes into it, like, oh, the werewolves have to be at home every full moon, otherwise they just tear shit up and kill people. And it's interesting in that respect. But
I suppose that kind of setting and aesthetic allows them to not get too deep as well. Maybe if it was a slightly futuristic,
it's set in the future.
Yes,
some strange far-flung future, which is September 2020. when the game opens and it's like September 2020 in Seattle, and I'm just like, yeah, that does sound futuristic, and then I realise, oh, it's 9 months away. It's like, how did we get?
How old is this game?
It's like, what? That can't. 2020 just sounds unreal. But anyway,
I was going to say maybe if it was, if it was a slightly more recently set, but still kind of futuristic kind of thing. It kind of leans into you wanting to know a little bit more, their take on that. But having those, different species of humanoid and things like that, kind of it sets you apart from it a little bit more, perhaps.
Yeah,
that you don't need to delve, deeper. And there are plenty of games which do delve deeper. But if this is something which is trying to juggle and talk about lots of different issues, to get deeper on a lot of those, I would imagine we get quite messy as well.
That's true. Yeah, because something like Eliza, which I played previously, that is a lot of that goes into like the human psyche, and can robots truly give mental health care to humans, and it focuses in on that. It does have stuff around the periphery, but it very much zeroes in on that core theme. It doesn't go into like the whole branching genre of singularity. It very much focuses on that, and this it does focus on a lot of areas, but it's like, as you say, like it talks about video game crunch, and it seems less in your face when it's an orc talking about video game crunch, but yeah, it brings up some interesting topics. And the tea making, tea, coffee. You just make milk if you want.
Hot beverage.
Yeah, hot beverage making. It's very simplified. It's kind of like the Red Strings Club, which me and you enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
Was it 2 years ago? Jeez.
Yeah, it must be.
Oof. Anyway, whereas that is very more cyberpunky and to do with espionage. This is just very much. No, you're just in a coffee shop. It does have a little twist at the end, which is interesting, but I shan't spoil that. But the coffee making is very, it's very light and mechanically. You're just, choosing between 3 ingredients and mixing them up, and you can find new recipes, different drinks. The customers will usually just tell you exactly what they want.
Okay.
Sometimes there is a bit of guesswork when they say, "Oh, I want this this drink called Bed Chamber. It's got honey in," and they'll only give you that clue, and then you start experimenting with combinations, and you can like throw away like 3 or 4 or 5. I think it's 5 different attempts in the story mode, but there is an endless mode where you can just make to your heart's desire and find new recipes and stuff like that. And there's a challenge mode which sees you making as many as you can with a timer ticking down. So there's those 2 different modes, but yeah, it's just nice, pleasant visual novel.
Nice.
I enjoyed it. It's got a really nice atmospheric quality to it, where it's like, just the sound design of you see people walking in the background in the rain, and it's dark, and it's like you want to be in a coffee shop when you play that game. You want a cup of coffee. You just want to just sit down with a hot drink and play that, and it's very good at evoking that.
No, how did you play it? What did you play it on?
I played it on my Surface, mostly at night with a cup of tea.
Nice.
Chilling out. But yeah.
Good. Yeah. That sounds really nice. Is it?
It's pleasant, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it's one of those, if people like games like Red Strings Club or Read Only Memories, stuff like that, this is sort of, worth their time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're not going to get anything, like that's going to blow your mind, but
sure.
It's nice to chill out to. If you're just thinking, maybe you're in like a bit of a slump, you don't know what to play, and you're just like, I just want something like, sometimes I just need like a Telltale-ish game to get me back into game where it's like, I'm not really doing much, but it's like, it's interactive enough where it's like, yes, I'm playing something, and this is perfect for that.
Nice, good. So you've also got the Pedestrian to talk about, which looks super, super interesting.
Yeah, this game's been kicking about for a while.
And is it just released as well? Oh, you said both of them, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember first seeing it, playing a demo for it in, I think it might have been 2015 or 16.
Oh wow!
Something like that. The devs, Skookum Arts, have said that. I think it said it took them 6 or 7 years in total. I think this is their debut game as a studio, but yeah, it's been a long time coming. I think it was a Kickstarter game. In fact, it was a Kickstarter game. Yes, it was, definitely. And the whole premise of it is it's a puzzle game, puzzle platforming game, and the central theme is that you're playing as a stick man or woman, one that you'd find on like gendered bathrooms, the little figure, and you're having to navigate from point A to point B, but the twist is that there are several different panels and you can move the panels around. So if you connect, because you connect them via lines, so if you have the starting panel, and you can connect the line that's going from there to one that has a door or one that has a key, and you can just move the character around, and then you can step back and then rearrange again. So say if they're going from the room with the starting room to the one with the key, connect those two, and then you disconnect them, and then you connect the one with the key to the one with the locked door or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a very surface level way of explaining it. It's probably better just to look at a trailer, because there are certain, caveats to that. Sometimes if you disconnect the line halfway through the puzzle, it will reset, or there are sometimes some conditions where it's like, okay, I can have this panel and its conditions be static. Even if I move other things around, the conditions of that panel will remain the same, and then I can continue from there. So it gets more complicated, and the mechanics start to expand the more you go into it. It's probably, I think I probably spent about 7 hours on it, so I'm guessing maybe, depending on how quick you are at solving these puzzles, because some of them did have me scratching my head for quite some time. Probably you're looking at least 5 hours to finish it all on a first playthrough.
Are they linear puzzles? So do you move through sort of like a world doing different things?
Yeah, and that's the thing that strikes me the most about this game, because when I played it back in 2015, it was just literally a game where it's just panels. You move from level to level. But then the developers started adding on, like, okay, you're going through a subway, and then you're going through a factory and stuff like that, and the presentation of everything is really what draws your eye to it, because if it was just a level by level, and it is still level by level puzzle game, if you're just like going into a menu selecting world 1-1, world 1-2 and stuff like that, it would be like, okay, the puzzles are fun, but I think the fact that you are just constantly moving through this living, breathing world, and the developers have gone through the effort of making that presentation, making that that be what stands out, as well as the puzzles. It just shows that they've gone above and beyond, and it really is a labour of love from them. And it works. I always thought it's like, do you guys need to do this? It seems like the puzzles would just be good enough, but it's like, no, that brings a cohesion to it, brings everything together, and it just makes it a much more appealing package. But the puzzles are really fun. The puzzles are really good. It's a good ass puzzle game. So
nice. I did look at a trailer, and it does look presented very well. I like that you have that sort of zoomed in version where you can see the panels and how you're moving between them, and it actually looks quite simple,
Mm-hmm.
and then suddenly it zoomed out, and you get this very well realized, complex kind of scene that or surrounding a wall or something that these panels are on, which can then zoom in and do whatever you need to, I guess. But it does seem like, as you say, if that's then come a bit later, they have definitely put a lot of effort into that. Into that extra dimension to it.
Because they've got a YouTube channel. It's pretty good because they've documented like a lot of their development on it. They send out monthly videos, and it's just like, just seeing how it's evolved over the years, and seeing how rudimentary it looked before and where they've got to now. The game dev's hard, man. It's like you really respect these people. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
Ugh, I could never do that. I just sit around and play and talk about them.
I'm in the mood for another puzzle game.
Yeah.
Definitely in the mood for a puzzle game. It sounds like that will be the one to pick up. Where did you play that one?
That's a good point, actually. I played that. I believe it's only on Steam at the moment.
Okay.
I think it's got console ports in the works, but they're not out yet. But I think it's just on Steam. But I played on my Surface again. But the thing is that I played it with both controller and mouse. The reason is because I did all the little. There's a tiny bit of platforming. There's nothing like that you need Twitch skills or anything like that for. It's just platforming in a puzzle sense. It's like, okay, I just need to get up to this ledge, done. But when I was moving the panels around, I used the mouse, and then when I wanted to move the person around, I used the controller. So
that's nice.
Yeah, because you could. I'd probably not recommend playing that way, but I'd probably just stick with mouse and keyboard. Just because when you're moving a cursor with a controller, it's always a bit tedious. So it's like, but because it's like it's not like you're having to switch on the fly very quickly. You are like connecting the panels and then then doing the platforming, or vice versa. It's not like, I'm switching in between the two quite often. You do switch, but not to any extent where it's like, oh gosh, this is too much to juggle. So but just play it on mouse and keyboard probably. Because moving around cursors, it's not fun on controller. And when some games are just like, in this one, it's absolutely required, because you're moving around panels, and you're connecting dots between them and stuff like that. But in games where it's like, I just want to cycle through a menu, why give me a cursor? On console, does not make any sense. But,
I know what you mean. Talking about things like accessibility with the with Coffee Talk. Allowing you to just let that text just flow and take you through it. I think giving you the option to jump between, mouse and keyboard and pad is good, but it needs to be very well designed for both, and to then not have to make you, either choose one over the other because of the ease of use of that one.
Yeah. With some games it's very hard to do, I get that, but in somewhere it's just like, this is not needed. Like, I don't know, like Destiny, where it's like, okay, just let me cycle through this rather than have the stupid cursor. This is all I remember from playing Destiny in like 2014 or something like that. On PlayStation, on
your
the free
only
demo.
takeaway.
Yeah, the shooting was good, and I was just like, what the hell is this? Couldn't you just give me a normal menu? Like, come on.
That's fair.
Yeah, but that's a Pedestrian. Go play it. It's better
because Adel isn't here. I'm going to jump into the old, and I've just looked at it on Steam. I'll jump into some Steam reviews. I'll have to see. Currently showing 44 reviews that match the filters above.
Good.
I didn't think I'd put any filters.
That's
Overall,
really good considering it only came out yesterday.
Yeah, so there's some pre-release reviews.
Okay.
Still posted on the 29th of January, most of them. I don't know whether they just perhaps update. So, I mean, a lot of them just echo kind of what you said, really. Unique puzzle game because of the different puzzles and the sense of the environments as well. It's someone saying it just says big, a lot of just positive.
That's good.
I wanted to find something that was maybe a little bit more of a criticism, but on my phone.
I do always just find the weird ones though. It's like he's just got a knack for it.
He gets the time. He gets the time to read through them as well, as we're just sort of like riffing while he's going like, "Oh, I just find these crazy reviews." But yeah, I mean, just looks so far like it is very good, kind of across the board, really.
I hope it sells well.
It does have. Let's see. Most helpful. I don't want most helpful. Most helpful.
Least helpful.
Funny. You can actually search for funny reviews on Steam.
Yeah.
But
some are unironically funny. That's the weird thing. I want to search for least helpful. And just get all my video game suggestions from there.
That makes sense. Just a bad game every week. Or at least you'd know what to stay away from, maybe.
I know what to stay away from Steam. Most of them are anime games.
Yeah, most of them visual novels, probably. Oh dear, right. I can't find a funny review. They're not funny at all, those ones that were marked as funny. They were just kind of more one-liners, just people saying, this game is great, or this is the best game ever. Like,
good.
That sort of thing. Not funny at all.
That's what I want to hear, because it is a very good game.
Good. I should have done that for coffee talk, shouldn't I, really? If there's anything that riles people up more, it's an orc talking about his interracial relationship.
And coffee. No, you shouldn't drink it black.
Right, I'm going to open another beer.
Yeah, I heard.
This is a beer from Bad Company Brewing and Distilling. I think they're called Bad Company, or are they called Bad Brewing and Distilling Company?
It looked like those ones that were they gonna go out of business and then they got bought up by like Tesco or something.
Oh,
what's their name again? They had the weirdest beer names that you couldn't make.
I know
like
who you mean, but I can't put my finger on it.
Oh gosh, what?
I don't
it just says everything, isn't it? We remember their weird packaging. Couldn't remember any of their beers. So they are called Bad Co. Because it's brewing and distilling company, who are based in Yorkshire. This is 0518. Okay.
An off-tempo milkshake IPA, 5.8%. It does give me the ingredients. So the malts are maris otter, wheat malt, road oats, carotene, and lactose. The hops are Citra and Eldorado, and that is all it gives me. So
that's all she wrote.
Bad Co are another brewery that I have seen in Morrison's, but never picked up. Heard mixed things. I know they released a beer which I think is called Boston Tea Pie.
Right.
Which I think when it released, people were saying, this is brilliant, this is a really good beer, it's really nice, and then I think maybe they had some batch issues, some quality control issues, because suddenly it became this very divisive kind of beer. People saying, oh no, the one I've got is not very good, and all of this sort of stuff. So I've never jumped onto a beer from them, but fancied something different, so this definitely fits the bill.
Let's hope it does the thing. Does the good thing.
I mean, it's got a nice a nice nose, which you can tell it's like a milkshake IPA.
Okay, it looks a bit darker.
It is. It's quite dark. It's quite sort of murky.
Yeah.
White head on that. It doesn't stick to the glass at all. I haven't left myself much room to see that, but it doesn't stick there at all. But it's got that nice sweet nose to it that you'd kind of expect from like a milkshake IPA.
Yeah, that's the thing with milkshake IPAs. Like, they can get it so wrong sometimes. It can just sometimes it's just not what I'm looking for in a beer. It's like very sweet, sugary, has doesn't have like that crispness to it. That even if you had like a fruit forward like IPA, it still retains that bit of crispness, a bit of carbonation to it. Whereas milkshake IPA, it's just like, no, we're just throwing everything into this to make it taste like a milkshake. Where it's like, I don't really typically want that from a beer.
I think this falls somewhere in between almost. I'm getting sweetness straight away, absolutely, but it mellows quite well.
Okay.
And leaves me with a sweetness at the back of the mouth, but this bitterness kicks through as well.
Right. Okay.
Just dragging that sweetness back down, because I could see you have a sip and it feels quite sweet, but actually just left on its own, that would start to be a little bit too sort of sickly.
Okay.
It's got quite a creamy kind of mouthfeel to it. Obviously the lactose kind of helping in various different ways there. But yeah, it's got like a slight. It's not thick. It's not viscous. It's just slightly creamy.
Okay.
I think.
Well, that's I think a relief.
It's the bitterness which maybe
brings everything
just
down.
Brings it together. Yeah. And it just stops this just being kind of like a very sweet, creamy kind of Coke float type thing. It doesn't have that same level of kind of like carbonation or something like that, but that bitterness just pulls it back, lets you know what's going on, that it's a beer, whilst still allowing that sweetness to stick around a little bit. And the combination of the two do start to feel a little bit more stewy as the beer goes on. So what starts off quite sweet remains sweet through that bitterness. Maybe 20-30 seconds after starts just to turn very slightly and be a little bit more kind of stewy, a little bit more kind of almost like that fermented sweetness, where it almost starts to sour very slightly. But that kind of has me reaching to go back and go, okay, like I'll have that sweetness and that bitterness sort of run through again.
Yeah. I don't know, milkshake IPAs, I mean, you wouldn't have thought they would stuck around. Yeah. Just by their nature, you would have thought, oh, this was a very faddy kind of thing. Sort of like brute IPAs. I don't know, like, there must be a contingent of people who would just really love milkshake IPA.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if this is in something like Morrison's, they must be continuously making it. So there's obviously a market for it, from some people. I'm not sure who those people are, where they exist, where they live. I don't know what.
Where did they come from?
Where they've come from.
It's like, what mood do you have to be in to like want a milkshake IPA? Because I'm imagining that it would be refreshing on like a summer's day, but I don't know. I don't think I'd want the. I think when I think of like lactose and milk on a hot day, I just think of curdling. So, I don't know. Yeah, curdled milk. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll have to see how it goes throughout the whole beer. Whether that sort of that slightly stewy note to it, which kind of sits almost on the sides of the tongue a little bit. That's where it's kicking in sort of the most of that. That's starting. The more I drink this, that's starting to creep in earlier and earlier in the flavour. Hopefully, it doesn't creep too much that as soon as I sip it, that's kind of getting.
Yeah.
I'd still like it to work through all of those flavours, and the sweetness to the bitterness, and then kick that in with that stewed sort of fruits. That's fine, but just allow that to work through.
I think the fact that it's balanced helps it immensely, because lactose in like stouts, just to thicken them up. Some do, some don't have lactose in them, but then I understand it. But like when you get in like that stickiness on your tongue, it's like you already have the hops and the resinous from that, and it's like the lactose just doesn't go that well for me with like something that's trying to be, piney and bitter. And I don't know what it is about milkshake IPAs. Don't get me wrong, I've had one or two good ones in my lifetime. The honey milkshake IPA from Dale was superb, that they don't make anymore, which is a shame. But yeah, I don't know. I'm having a moment. I'm having a moment with milkshake IPAs.
I'll let you live in the moment. My PC fans have just gone absolutely insane. I've got no idea why. They've just kicked in massively. Who knows?
They're roaring with applause.
That's what PC. It is. Like, yes, Lucy, yes. So, I'll drink this whilst I chat about what I've been playing. I'm not gonna linger on Death Stranding this week. Still playing.
I haven't heard you talk about. I don't know if that's a good or bad sign.
I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it.
Okay, good.
I'll talk about it when I've finished it, maybe.
Okay,
Who knows when that will be. I think I've sunk about 30 hours into it. So maybe, I was
halfway through then.
I was maybe 10 hours in, I think. Maybe a little bit more when I spoke about it. So I've managed to get a little bit in
That's good.
This week. Still enjoying it. But another game I've been playing, which I'm also enjoying for a very, very different reason, is the Shrouded Isle. And
is that the cult one? Cult simulator one? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
so it's published. Oh, it's developed by as Minute was, developed by these individual people.
Okay. Right,
It's the same deal. Developed by 4 or 5 individual people. Published by Kit Fox Games. It is this Lovecraftian management game. You are like a high priest, and you have to run through each season and uphold a certain level of criteria through each of them. So you're trying to manage lots of different things over this period of time, and you have got 5 years to appease your god and do something. I don't know what happens at the end. I have not got past towards the end of the second year so far. I've only got about 3 hours in it. I think I've maybe done 6 or 7 runs. So basically you're presented with a screen. It's kind of like a map of the town Schönborg that you're in, that you're the high priest for, and you pick one person from 5 different houses to be your advisor. So you could click into a house and it will bring up a panel of maybe 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 different members of that family, and you have to pick one of them to be your advisor through the year, or through the season. So each season is 3 turns. It's monthly, and with your advisors you have to manage 5 different elements. I think it's like discipline, fervor, obedience, ignorance, and there's one more. But each of these people, the people that you choose to be advisors, they will have a benefit and a negative effect on these 5 different elements. So you might pick one person, and it says that one of their traits is ignorant. So you know that they will give you a benefit to ignorance if you choose them to do something within that month. And it might be that they're from this family, so they will, they'll whip people to make them obedient or something like that. And whilst that's raising obedience, they will also raise ignorance, because that's one of their traits, to be able to do that. And you have to basically manage these 5 bars. So you have a plus trait and a negative trait. Normally the negative trait is more impactful than the positive trait. So whilst someone might be like plus 10 to ignorance, they might be minus 20 to fervour, or something like this. So you have to kind of play a bit of a balancing act on each month and say, I'm going to pick just this person this month to do their activity, and that's going to boost this up. I'm going to choose these 2 people because whilst I want to boost that brings that down too much. But if I pick this person as well, that will just keep it kind of level. So there's lots of management going on within that. Above that, you've then got to keep each of the houses in line. So if you pick their person to do the activity on a month, then that will make them happier with you. If you don't, that makes them dissatisfied. So you're trying to balance that as well. And then at the end of each season, you have to pick someone to sacrifice to your god. And based on what you're able to ascertain as you go through each of the months, what you're able to inquire about before you make your selection, you might have you might have picked 5 people who are very kind of middling. They only have plus 10 and minus 10 to a lot of things. And if you pick someone that has one of their negative traits that is only minus 10, I think it's 5, 10, 15, 20 or 30 the increments. Unless you pick someone who is minus 30 to something, and it will pop up and say they're a pervert, minus 30 to this trait, or they're a scholar, minus 30 to ignorance, that sort of thing. The house that you take the sacrifice from will get very dissatisfied from you. If you found someone out to be a pervert or something that is unwanted within the town and the society, then they're much more willing for you to be able to kind of sacrifice them. And it's really fucking hard. It's really hard to get that balance. And in the same way that something like Reigns was, where you're constantly battling to try and keep everything to a certain level. You also have this god, or whatever it is that's talking to you, give you kind of little objectives to undertake as well. So the god will say something like, bring me the scholar. So you're then also hunting out who the scholar is out of I think roughly 30 people across the 5 houses. So you've then got to find who that scholar is and then sacrifice them, because that's what your god has asked for, whilst still balancing everything. So if you sacrifice someone, that might make that house hate you enough that they usurp you, and that's game over. You've got to start again. Or it drags obedience down too much and the town revolt against you. So there's lots and lots of stuff kind of going on. There's so many layers to this to try and get your head around.
Turns out running a cult is pretty hard.
Absolutely. I mean, the first time I played it, I think I lasted like 3 seasons, and that was about it.
How long is a typical run then? Because Reigns, it's very quick.
It would be, I think if you were to get for the full 5 years, it would, it'd probably be, hard to say, a good 40 minutes to an hour. Depends on how much you're delving into it, how much you're kind of deliberating between, picking people and things like that, and trying to weigh things up. you might sit there and know that this guy gives you minus 30 to obedience, and this guy gives you minus 30 to ignorance.
Yeah.
But your obedience is, through the roof. Everyone is super obedient. So like, okay, it doesn't matter if my obedience drops a little through this season. I'm going to pick this guy. I know it's a sure thing. It's a sacrifice at the end of the season. I haven't found the person I need to yet, so he's kind of like a backup. And I've really kind of, I think the first maybe 4 runs that I played, I was quite quick to run through, and it's more as I've thought about it and picked up on these kind of like smaller details and thinking, okay, actually trying to balance it and play this against this and do this, that I've taken my time a little bit more with it. And as I say, I think I've got about 3 hours in it, and I've done maybe 6 or 7 runs. So, my later ones, I'm getting towards the end of the 2nd year, so almost into the 3rd year. So not quite halfway through a run, and maybe they've been more sort of 15 minutes in. As a run. So yeah, I expect you're probably getting close to an hour on a full run, but it's easy to just think, okay, I can see my mistake there. I'll go back into it, whilst not that sort of that quick action like something like Hotline Miami, where you're going around, bam, 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 you die straight back in. This is, you go back to the menu, you start again, you go into it, you start at the first season and roll through from there. You're not quite exploring as much maybe as you were on those first couple of runs. Like, oh, okay, what is this tower over here? What does that do? And when does that unlock? Because you can start to purge people of various traits that they have and things like this as you run through. And it is very. It's very interesting on that different kind of like layers and how you manage those different layers. And if you're into that, this does have like a Lovecraftian aesthetic and theme to it.
It looks great. Yeah, because
it does.
When you said it, it's like that art style just immediately popped into my head. And it was like, oh, is that the cool game? It was like, yeah. So yeah, I know it from the art style, but I was looking at Steam reviews.
Oh, I think which are mixed, right?
Yeah, they are, and it is owing to. Let me just read this because this is very funny. The first review that's on here. Chernobog is an awfully strange way to spell RNGesus. For people who don't know, RNG, random number generator. So everything's based on randomness. And when you're praying to RNGesus, it means you want the odds to fall in your favour.
Yes.
So I thought that was funny. It's baffling that this game is tagged Choices Matter because your choices do not matter. The game actually punishes you when you don't follow its rigid and incredibly hollow structure.
Ooh.
Then punishes you some more when you do. That I think this guy's called Monday, but well, he must hate himself, doesn't he?
I mean, it does punish you.
Yeah,
it's a Lovecraftian like cult management thing. Of course, it's going to, and of course, it's going to.
Because Lovecraft was, turns out, an asshole. So
yeah, a very, very racist, awful human.
Yeah.
Yes, but it kind of. I think they've. I don't know. They've.
Yeah.
I say it's like a Lovecraftian theme. It is that like gothic horror style that they've gone for. I suppose Lovecraftian is the word that we've come to give for sort of like gothic horror. I mean, it does deal with things like gods and stuff like that as well. I think as well, because of the art style, everyone is white.
Oh, okay.
Well, they're not white. They're kind of pallid yellow. But
Everyone's a Simpsons character.
yeah. But I don't think there's much diversity in the people. You're either picking guy with glasses or girl whose hair falls across her face. There's not much more to it than that, really. You know, you do get a bit of an age difference, so you will have 2 adults normally, and then some children who are, they're not children, they're kind of teeny 20s type age, kind of, at least from kind of how they look.
Yeah.
But that's kind of it.
Just very stock
diversity.
characters, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people who've given it a thumbs up, that they like the atmosphere. Obviously, the setting and the look of it. That's a, you know, people have been giving that its plaudits. But yeah, I think a lot of people are just saying, once you really get into it, you know, spend a few more hours into it, like the mechanics start to reveal themselves, and it's less frustrating. So
yeah.
But one guy gave it a thumbs up and just said, "Purge heretics." So, and I agree.
I mean, it is a good kind of take on this style as well, because it very much, you know, makes you think about it. It is kind of like a brutal cult. They want you to be obedient. They want you to be ignorant. They want you to kind of be in your place and not to question anything, or at least that's what your objective as this high priest is, to keep the kind of the masses at bay, and just to appease the god, essentially, and get through every month, sacrifice someone to fulfill, you know, whatever the prophecy is, that in 5 years you'll all ascend to something, or do something, or get taken by the sea, or be eaten by an interdimensional beast, or, you know, whatever it is going to be at the end.
Really interesting concept. Yeah, I'd love to see what this team do next if they haven't done anything yet, because it's about a good 2 years old, this game.
It is a couple of years old, yeah. I picked it up cheap in
August
in the Steam sale.
2017. I should put it back on my... I don't know if it was ever on my wish list. I should put it on my wish list, I should say, because if it was ever cheap, then yeah, just to experience how weird that world is and be interested.
Yeah, I think I got it for something like 60p.
Oh, nice.
Because I'd sold a load of cards, so I had, you know, and I say I got it for 6p. It was only about maybe £2.60.
Okay.
So I had about £2 worth of credit from selling some cards. So yeah, and that wasn't in the New Year Steam sale. That was in the winter Steam sale. I think I picked that up. So it's definitely worth a look at that kind of price if you like those kind of management games, or even if you
always wanted to run my own cult. So
yeah. And if you're just into that Lovecraftian gothic horror style thing, and you fancy something which isn't you know, action orientated, or too complex. It is complex, but not in a I've got to smash all the buttons at once type way. You know, you can take your time over this, you can think about it, and that's definitely kind of what it was a nice change of pace to Death Stranding, basically. Death Stranding,
tripping yourself over, tripping,
falling over rocks
down,
smashing boxes everywhere. I'm very surprised that I haven't been able to get in one of the boxes on Death Stranding and hide from people.
Oh yeah, you must.
Yeah.
If that is not in the game, because everyone would have been talking about it, it would have been like every Polygon article ever. Like, you can get in a box in Death Stranding.
Yes, that would have featured heavily.
Yeah, is it a metaphor for him and his relationship with Konami and stuff? There'd be thousands of articles about it, but that's ridiculous. Continue what you do. Oh dear.
You'll just find someone, especially because the human enemies, the mules, they just basically want to steal everyone's stuff. So they will attack you and porters, you know, people, delivery men, to take their stuff just because they want to.
Yeah, they're deprived of.
Exactly. They need it. They need post.
I'd love the day where I don't get any post. God. Brown letters from HMRC.
Yeah.
It's like, you need to post. It's like, I paid you 5 months ago. Anyway.
Hey, same as me. I got this letter saying blah 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 blah, and I went to my account. And she's like, "No, I've done that." I'm like, brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yes, I'm surprised that you can't hide in a box and get them to come and get you to infiltrate their camps a little bit. But you know, it does have those kind of like stealth elements to it. Nowhere near as involved as like Metal Gear. You know, you're not kind of like prone, crawling along the ground and stuff like this. But it kind of still leans into that a little bit, and definitely kind of almost pushes you into being a little bit more stealthy when you're dealing with the human enemies and stuff. So yeah, surprising that you can't just like switch into one of these boxes, like a decoy box or something, and put it over you.
I just randomly started playing Metal Gear Solid 2 on whichever collection was on 360. I started playing it and I was like, you know what? Nah. I can't. Nothing to do with the game. It's just I just don't want to play these old clunky controls. Yeah, it was the same with Resident Evil 4 that I tried the other day. I was just like, not in the mood. I can go back and play obtuse point-and-click adventure games, on the other hand, but moving with like tanky controls, not having it. I'll play Monkey Island 2 instead.
You know where you are with
really
that.
Obtuse.
You know where you are. You know you've played a point and click, and you haven't had to change. You've not adapted. You're not up on a new control scheme for point and click games.
Yeah,
they're pretty similar across the ages.
They're just stupid puzzles, man. That's when you know you're broken as a human, when you can get through most of those games without a guide. It's like there's something wrong with your brain, the fact that you thought of this. It's like, oh my god, because I think Thimbleweed Park, why haven't they made a sequel yet? Come on, I know we're talking about how hard game dev is. Come on.
I mean, Thimbleweed Park took a little while to actually come out, didn't it? It's only maybe 2 years old, 2016, 2017 maybe?
I think it was 2017, yeah. Come on, it's been 3 years, just get the pixels together, done. Yeah.
I mean, just reuse everything, right?
Yeah. Just make another one of those. But the fact that I got through most of that without a guide, I'm broken inside. I played Broken Sword.
So there was something, I can't remember what it was, something I played which really made me want to play like an X-Files game.
Oh yeah,
like a Mulder and Scully style thing. It wasn't Thimbleweed Park. It was something else that just made me want an X-Files game, and I found a game on my phone,
which was very strange.
Which was an X-Files game, but it wasn't. It was like this weird experience where I mean, it was kind of like visual novel-y, where you're making choices, very binary choices. Like, do you go in the room or stay outside? Like, I don't know. I just heard someone screaming in there, so can I not slowly approach and just peek round the corner, perhaps with my weapon?
One or the other, binary, one or zero.
Just go in or don't.
No,
Which one? And then you do this this opening kind of episode of all of these choices, and there's I can't remember what the fuck there was, like a fucking snowman or something, eating people in a military base, and then suddenly fucking the T-1000, whatever his fucking name is, he turns up because he's no longer with the FBI. He's working for someone.
Him, not the actual
T-1000.
The guy who plays.
What was his fucking agent name? I can't remember
what's his name? He's got like a really cool name.
He has got a very cool name. Yes. Oh mate, let's find out what is his fucking name. I want to say Doggett, but I don't think it's fucking Doggett.
It probably is.
T-1000. Oh, I should put actor, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
T-1000. T-1000 is a fictional character.
Portrayed by
Robert Patrick.
That's not his name, is it?
Yep, that's the actor's name, Robert Patrick.
I thought maybe it was something cool in X-Files.
What's he called in X-Files? Let's have a look. Oh, look. How do I go? Oh, there we go. IMDb, which is now owned by Amazon.
Oh.
Because you've got to log in using like your Twitch details.
What?
Or I know, it doesn't.
I just want to see what this actor's in.
Right,
I don't want to sign up for Twitch Prime.
I'm gonna have to go with filmography, aren't I? Rather than, I don't know, what would you call it if it's TV?
I think it's still filmography.
I suppose it's recorded on film, I guess. Well, he was in Sons of Anarchy. Don't remember him in there. How old is X-Files? How far back am I going? Bloody hell.
96? Did it start earlier than 96?
I'm still in the 2000s. The late 2000s.
What's his name?
Robert Patrick, I'll find you in X-Files. I could probably have just... yeah, it is Doggett. John Doggett. There we go.
Okay, yeah.
I remember these things occasionally. Anyway, what the fuck were we
Because I remember, because it was like Fox and Dog, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so he turned up in this game, and he said, oh, I know some people who might be interested in this. And then Mulder and Scully turn up. I'm like, this isn't what I wanted. This isn't the X-Files game that I wanted. I had to download this weird app to actually be able to play it. And then download it in episodes, and it kept throwing up different games at me. Like, if you like this, play this. I'm like, I don't want to. I want to play this. It's just the same game with a different fucking skin on it. Like NCIS, Baltimore, fucking doing some shit. I don't know.
That's not a. That's not a route you want to go down. Like, all those When you showed me a screenshot, and when I looked it up, I could just see that it was poorly written. I didn't need to read any text. I could just tell.
I mean, I don't think it was poorly written. Some of it was, absolutely.
Come on. It's not quite.
I was just
Chaucer,
like, no, I don't want to fucking. I don't want to play this. I definitely don't want to play this.
Yeah,
This is not
Shrouded
the
Isle.
X-Files game we deserve.
Yeah, Cult Simulator, Shrouded Isle. Yeah, I'll look out for that.
Yeah,
I want a good cult game. Maybe people probably already doing this in The Sims, aren't they? Just making their own cults. But yeah, because that other game, that Church in the Darkness, which I never actually got around to playing.
Oh yeah.
That was meant to be like not a one-to-one portrayal, but it was meant to be like, Jonestown. It was meant to, let you see from like both sides of the coin, like what it's like to be in a cult, and why people run a cult. Start from like probably humble beginnings, actually want to do good in the world, and then just devolving into anarchy. But apparently they didn't play that well, so that was a shame.
Yeah,
we need a good cult
played
game,
it, didn't he? Like, I think
he
it was a bit lukewarm
did,
on it. A lot of repeated maps and things like that, wasn't there?
Yeah.
You do have something like Cultist Simulator, but I think that's like a card game, isn't it?
Yeah, that wasn't exactly what I wanted.
I definitely...
Devs make exactly what I want, and I don't know what it is I want. You're meant to tell me.
Yeah, that's. I mean, just go back and play like Darkest Dungeon. That's. I mean, it's not a cult game
I own that,
whatsoever, but
brutal.
I was playing the Shrouded Isle. I'm thinking, ooh, this is giving me little Darkest Dungeon vibes. Very different game, but I kind of thinking, do I want to go back and play that? Should we just have a Darkest Dungeon 2? Probably the Darker Dungeon.
Darkest Dungeon. No, it's already Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah.
The Darkerest, yeah.
The Darkerest Dungeon. The Deeperest, Darkerest Dungeon.
So what do you think you're going to play next? I've just introduced a new topic.
Well,
what do you think you're going to play next?
Look at my t-shirt.
Oh.
So,
that is a very nice t-shirt.
It's got a cool bear on it. This is for a game called Star Drive, which I hadn't heard of, right? But I won a competition run by Iceberg Interactive, who have lots of, I say lots, they've got about 5 or 6 different games that they produced, that they published last year. I won a competition, won a few t-shirts, and won some game codes for Still There, which is a game which has been on my wish list. That is probably the game I'm going to play next. I'm still playing Death Stranding, but I think still there is probably the game I'm going to play next. And a game called Pax Nova, which, again, I hadn't heard of, but looks like a 4X strategy game. And I'm like, yep, that's completely up my alley.
That's a Ben game.
I will have a look at this and probably just, lose a day to it. Just start off and think, I'll just investigate a little bit. And suddenly it's 4 o'clock. I'm like, oh shit, I've got like 25 emails. Fuck. What do I do? And then the last one was the shortest trip to Earth.
Yeah.
Which
very FTL-y.
Yes, FTL style game.
Yeah.
So yeah,
FTL got achievement. Which is interesting. Got Steam.
Again.
FTL got Steam achievements like 7 years after it first released.
Really?
Yeah, just recently. I think it's. I think it was probably because of the Xbox people, because I think it came to like Game Pass on PC.
Really?
I think there was like renewed interest. It's like, why is there no achievements in that?
Yeah.
And it's now got Steam achievements.
Do you think it had the same level of resurgence as The Witcher? So obviously the TV show, like,
probably it's just that nobody's talking about it.
Yeah,
because the people who play FTL just don't talk to anybody. They just play the game and get on with their lives. They don't start singing stupid Witcher songs.
Oh, mate.
Feeding a penny to your Witcher.
Mate, I'm still like, friends of Out of Lives, people who go to Out of Lives and look at our other content, or any of you who are part of the Facebook page, you will have seen my face in various different forms, either on Tanked Up or through a short series of little videos about me chatting about different things. I still want to do a little video about my thoughts on The Witcher. I started writing them all down. I thought, I don't want to do a written article on this. I just want to fucking chat about it, like just talk about it. One of my biggest issues with that show is that fucking song. It is not very good. I do not understand why everyone wants to toss a coin to the fucking Witcher. Just drop the song. Just fucking enjoy the series. Don't think about the song. Don't worry that it's on Spotify. That's not news. No one's going to be listening. No one's listening to this song over and over and over and over again.
It'll pass. It'll be. I did see a Kickstarter trailer for a game that's coming out. It's like GTA set in like medieval times. I think it's called Rustler, and it's like a 13-second trailer. And it starts out with some guy in a lute singing "Toss a coin to your Witcher."
No, it doesn't.
And someone just decks him. It's like support on Kickstarter. And I was like, perfect. I'll give you a thumb. I may not support you on Kickstarter. I'm going to give you a thumbs up on your video.
Nice. I mean, I want to talk about like the swordplay and how all of just Henry Cavill's absurdly handsome gruffness.
Yeah.
Just fuck. Just that's all he has to say essentially throughout that fucking show. But I will probably do my thoughts, I don't know, at some point on that show. And also, Kim and I just finished watching The Boys. Last week we finished watching The Boys. And I want to just have a little chat about that as well. So maybe over the next couple of weeks I'll just start putting out chats on what I've been watching.
TV chat, yeah.
Yeah, TV
someone
chat.
who watches TV.
And I want to talk to someone about Picard as well.
Sorry, I'm not the right person to talk about any of those things. I've been playing games like a real game.
That's it. Yeah, like a good game.
No time
exactly.
No time for TV.
And, Lucy, you'll have even less time for TV now that you are part of the elite gaming crew.
Yes. No turning back now. I've got a gaming PC. It's a beast. And I'll probably just end up playing games from 1994. Point and click adventures, and just like, yes.
More than likely.
Yep.
Rather than those big beasts that need all of the processing power and the fucking graphical
What
absurdity.
Does Monkey Island, the Curse of Monkey Island, look like? Stretched out, widescreen, 5K. What does that look like?
Like anti-aliasing on, anti-aliasing off. Don't think it does anything.
But yeah, it's been refreshing too. I fired up Disco Elysium briefly. It was just nice to put all that on max setting, you know? I was just like, yeah, give me everything. Give me the shadows. Give me the anti-aliasing. Just give me everything. But
it just runs really smoothly as well.
Yeah, no hitches. When I was running Hitman was the first game that I tried out. I think the frame rate was dropping a little bit, but not too much. Because, like, I'm not sure if Hitman 2016, if you don't have like the upgrade pack. I've realised how stupid Hitman is before that rubbish. It's like you have to buy DLC and all this. It's like this is so confusing if you haven't just bought the original base version that got you everything. Because it's like, oh yeah, you have to. I can't even add it to my wish list. It's like, you know, it's all these DLC packages, and it's like, I don't know what's going on. But I don't know if you haven't got the upgrade pack. If it does, I know it definitely doesn't do the new mechanics where it's like, oh, someone's mirror. That's a gameplay element now, but I don't know. That game still looks great because I just remember, like, I think it was around when I was getting my Xbox One X. That's what it's called, isn't it? Yeah. The 4K
Who knows
box.
now, mate?
Yeah.
No, they've retrospectively changed all of the Xbox names to bring them all in line.
That one that does the 4K Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was around that time when they... was it the first Hitman? Yeah, it must have been. Where they were like the first ones to adopt like 4K, like 60. I think it's it. Yeah. Them and like Doom, like Bethesda for Doom. It's like, yeah, like they know what they're doing over in Denmark, making those games run really well. They look really pretty, just like all the lighting effects and stuff like that. It's crazy. So yeah, it's nice to be able to play games that look pretty. But yeah, Disco Elysium is one I'm gonna probably play next. But I started Kentucky Route Zero first, and I was just
nice.
I've played all the acts except for Act 5, which recently came out. But it's like I didn't have my save on like any of my computers that I can remember. I think I have it on my Mac, but it's like I can't be asked to get the file, and I've forgotten everything. And I want to see it with new eyes anyway, because it was what, 2013. I was nothing but a wee lass back in 2013. I want to play it through my, you know, seasoned, battered eyes. See what that's like. So yeah, I think I'll play Kentucky Route Zero first.
Where have you purchased that? Because I know it's come to console as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, Switch. Because it's just an easy way to play. I can play.
Yeah.
I've been playing the last few nights. I'm like midway through chapter 2 right now. So yeah, I've fallen asleep. It's nice to fall asleep too. The thing that I want to do probably on PC is just go into any chapter and just take a screenshot of everything because it looks gorgeous on the big screen. Yeah. But in terms of actually playing it and getting through it, I think Switch is a good place to play it.
Nice. It does seem very well suited to Switch.
Yeah, and then I'll play Disco and... Have you heard of Mutazione? I think that's what it's called.
No.
Just look it up. I'll send you the name of it because it's.
Is it Italian? It's not
Mutazione. Yeah.
It's a type of pizza.
But yeah, it looks great. Yeah. It's like it's very. I think it's like visual novel-y as well, but the art style's like really. Really
nice.
great.
Okay.
That's on Apple Arcade, so I just think how many.
I'll never get to play it.
No, it's on PC as well. It's
okay.
on PC.
Good.
I think it's coming to consoles as well, but yeah, it's just like I can't juggle all these, you know, really heady, you know, games about life and death and stuff like that all at once. It's like one at a time, please. Yeah.
Yeah, you need that time to
Sticky.
digest and be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because half of those themes probably would have gone over my head before life crushed me. Yeah.
And it's nice that we've had this, this quite sparse January as well. Not a huge amount of stuff has come out, in the first few weeks. Things are starting to release now, so we had a bit of time to catch up on things.
It's been excellent.
Yeah.
Get rid of
we seem to have
all games.
We seem to have had this time where you go back to I don't know, before Mass Effect 3, say. And Januaries were very sparse, and then suddenly they started to get busy, and people were putting games out in January, and you think, no, I've got no time anymore. And then suddenly, I don't know whether it is this jump to next generation, perhaps. We live in a very different kind of space now with how prolific indie games are, and the different kind of platforms that they can release on, and almost how big indie games and smaller experiences can be as the big budget AAA games. That suddenly something that you think is going to be quite a small release actually turns out to be something that you really want to play mid kind of January. But this year does seem to have dropped off a little bit and been a little bit more quiet. Stuff's still releasing, obviously, but yeah, it's just been nice. It's been nice to not feel like you've got to keep up. You've got to play everything. It's
been nice just going back into the well of stuff I've missed. I'm pointing to the conventions from the 90s, but is there anything coming out in February? I can't think. I don't think there is.
There's definitely stuff.
Was Final Fantasy meant to be February? I can't remember.
No, that's moved.
Or was that March? When was it moved from? March to April? I don't think there was anything in February anyway that I wanted to play.
February. Let's go for more items. This is from Games Radar for the February. Well, they just got all of the whole year on here. So February, I will call out anything that I have not just head off. So Zombie Army 4. That'll be reasonably.
I thought that was already a game. I thought that was already out.
There's some very random stuff like Yakuza 5, the remastered as part of a remastered collection.
Okay.
You've got Darksiders Genesis.
Oh yeah, that's on Stadia already, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Okay, so it's not a full release. And Dreams releases in February.
Next. I think people who are interested in Dreams are playing Dreams already.
They absolutely are already playing, yes.
It seems really cool, but
10th anniversary. Mate, there's some really weird fucking things releasing in fucking February. Like the Yakuza Remastered collection. You've then got Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition. You've then got the Bayonetta and Vanquish 10th anniversary bundle. Devil May Cry 3 Special Editions coming to Switch.
Capcom, who else? Sega, and what was the other one? Platinum need money. I think that's what it is.
Oh, absolutely.
Bundle these for them.
That's absolutely what this is.
Yeah.
And I suppose maybe who knows if this has a date. I don't know when this was updated last, but Code Vein. Oh no, that's just the DLC 2. DLC 2. Lots of DLC things and remasters and collections and stuff.
It's going to be a good February.
February's dead as well, mate.
Good.
So, yeah.
God. There is a game that I haven't started playing it, so these are by no means impressions. But there's a really cool looking point and click adventure game coming out. It's called Luna, Luna, the Shadow Dust or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Look it up. It's very striking, the art style. It looks like a Yeah, Luna the Shadow Dust. It's got like a, like almost Studio Ghibli-esque, like,
Oh, nice. Okay.
it's like animated.
Is it?
It's like wordless and animated.
Is it that? Is it leaning more towards like Forgotten Anne or Nino Kuni?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Not exactly like those. I'm trying to think of like. It looks like. Do you remember like around Christmas the snowman cartoon?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the Father Christmas one where he just used to cuss and everything.
Yeah,
like that.
It's got that graininess to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I did have a very awkward experience at Christmas with the snowman and Evelyn. She has realised that death is a thing.
They all learn.
Yeah, and the snowman just wasn't there anymore.
Yeah,
and it was like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah,
like cold, mate. All right, jeez.
It's like and next, and then moving on.
But straight afterwards,
let's go watch Netflix.
Straight afterwards, there was the snowman sequel.
Yeah,
and he had a dog as well, and a boy who finds the scarf because he's just moved into a house, then makes the snowman again. He takes him on another adventure type thing, and I was like, oh, it's back. I mean, sure, this isn't what we need to take. This isn't how death works. This isn't how we move.
Just get reanimated in a year.
As long as you keep my favourite scarf, I'll be around forever. Doesn't matter. It's fine. Just like Doctor Who, innit? Keep your coat or your scarf or your TARDIS or something around.
Don't cremate it with me. Yeah. Make sure you do it. Wrap it around the arm.
Yes. Oh no, it's all right. I'll get me green and gold scarf out somewhere and just fucking keep it around forever. Anyway, shall we finish there?
Yeah, I think we should.
Before we talk about Man United, let's finish. I had 2 beers.
Yeah.
I don't know which one I preferred. The what they call Bad Co. As I drank it, those stewed fruits did encroach a lot more on that initial kind of flavour. And I don't know whether it was maybe a holdover from the sour having just a little bit of a different start to that beer, perhaps. But I'm getting a few more sort of stone fruits, kind of very apricot-y.
Yeah.
The more I drank it, which was nice. But it kind of, as I drank, became more one note. I think the Overworks did well at presenting itself as a very easy sour, but something that again you could work through. You could see the different sort of elements of it coming through. So I think the Overworks picks it for me this week.
Okay.
Two pretty good beers. I'm not sure if I was in Morrison's that I would pick either of them up again.
Right.
If I want a sour, I'm probably going to go to the bottle shop and pick something up from someone who does sours very well. If I want a milkshake IPA, I'll probably wait for the summer. And get someone like Northern Monk or Unbarred or someone like that to have one from. I don't think I picked them up again, but the Overworks one was definitely a nice introduction to sours for people. The other one was kind of just it was okay. It was fine.
No, that's fair as one. Sometimes it's nice just to have a one-off. It's like, probably won't get this again, but as a one-off, not really expecting much. It did its job, and that's fine.
Absolutely.
We're very much in the business of trying new things anyway. So
completely.
I think for us, if you want that regular, there has to be a standout.
Absolutely.
For us to keep going back to it,
Yeah, I mean, I do keep going back to something like New World IPA. Just because it's a solid IPA.
And we have high standards over here.
Yes, absolutely. So, If you, our listeners, our viewers, have tried either of these beers, let us know what you think at TankTopCast on Twitter, on Instagram, tanktopcast@gmail.com if you want to send us some long form thoughts on the. I did those two the wrong way around, didn't I? Long form thoughts, not long form thoughts. Yeah, you can do that as well. Go to outoflives.net as well to read some articles. Carl's put up a very good piece last week about the first episode of Picard. I'm kind of itching for the next one tomorrow. It's such a shame that they're doing it as a weekly release. I kind of want all of it.
Where is it? Is it Netflix or something?
Amazon.
Oh.
Yes. I signed up for what I thought was a month of Amazon Prime for £1, and found out a week later that it was only a week for £1, when suddenly I was charged a month for Amazon Prime. And I thought, well, fair enough, Picard's coming out, I'll keep it for Picard, and maybe if I was thinking in my head, if Picard was okay, maybe I'll drop it, and then when all the episodes are released, I'll sign back up for a month, watch them all. But now I'm thinking, I just want Picard. I want it all the time. I want it more. Can I afford another subscription service? I'm not sure. Can I? Probably. Should I just do it anyway? Yeah. All right.
Just wait until all the episodes are out and get it for a free trial, and just binge, and then do that every
absolutely.
couple of
doubt
months.
they'll offer me another month free or something like that at some point to be able to go back to it.
It's that Patrick Stewart, mate. I mean, he narrated a game that I played this year called My Memory of Her.
Did he?
Yeah. It's like a very small scale, like indie puzzle platformer, and he narrates it. It's like monochrome. It's actually pretty fun, but he's just so good at what he does. Yeah.
I'm instantly going to go and buy that now.
I think it was like £3 on Switch. It's on PC. It's been on PC for a while. Yeah. It's nice. It reminds me of Valiant Hearts a bit.
Okay. Oh, nice. All right.
That kind of art style and subject matter. World Wars.
Cool. I shall definitely take a look at that. If you have any more game suggestions, you can get me at Nova_47 almost everywhere. Lucy.
You can find me at Lucy9 almost everywhere. Yeah, I'm gonna start tweeting about some games, some cool games, because I never keep up with the social, as the kids say.
Mate, I know. Tell me about it.
I might post on Instagram my new gaming PC.
Ooh,
make a difference from like beer and food.
The problem is with social media, the world moves too quickly. Moves so quickly.
Oh God, yeah.
You can just get a flippant comment gone, never to be remembered.
Graphics card will be outdated and probably already is.
Yeah,
throw it away, throw it in the trash, set it alight.
Oh, good. Right, so we shall return next week with more hot takes on graphics cards and Patrick.
Yeah,
Stewart.
I'll be all the way down the PC hole, and then I'll be talking about benchmarking all my V.
You'd have probably already upgraded it in some way. Yep. You're done now, mate. You're lost. You're lost forever. Good. So for another week, we've been tanked up. Bye.
Ciao.
www.outoflives.net